Oftentimes you'll hear this Afro-American Negro woman sitting there talking about how she's looking for a good man. And what's really backwards about this quest for this good man is that many of these women never come from a place where they had a relationship with the first man in their life at all. And now, who is that man? That man is their father. And because they didn't have a relationship with their father, they have no standard to measure other men in their lives by. What many African American women just don't understand is that the father is the first man in your life. And the relationship you have with your father pretty much lays the foundation for any relationship you will have with any other man for the rest of your life. If you have no relationship with the father, you pretty much do not understand what standard to measure other men by. And many African American women, at least about 70% of them, come from single mother, female headed households. And because they come from single mother, female headed households, they have no idea on what the criteria or the standards are for pursuing a relationship with a man, how to approach a man, or even how to communicate with a man. And these are the women who believe because they've seen female authority figures, they can create the standard for what a good man is. That standard was never meant to be established by women. Women do not tell men what a good man is. Men know what a good man is. And men create the standard for what a good man is because we know things regarding a man's character, not the superficial things that many women see on the surface regarding a man. And that's the big problem with many women. They look at the surface of what makes a man and they think that that is what makes a man good. No, what makes a man good, again, relates to his character, and his character traits are internal, and those are judged, again, by the standards of men, not by the standards of women. And the big problem with many women is that they're emotional. And because they emotionally respond, they think that they know what a good man is by his looks or by his cars or his clothes. And they never look at the internal traits. With most women, they judge by this standard and they don't understand what they're missing out on internally. And they're sitting there trying to establish this standard for manhood that again was never meant to be established by women. It was always meant to be established by men. Again, men know what a man of character looks like. They know what the standard for a man is. And again, because these women do not have a father in their life to show them a standard of manhood, they're sitting there trying to imagine what this good man is. And what they're seeing really, and what they're chasing after really, is an imaginary construct created by Madison Avenue advertisers and Hollywood movie studios. And these two institutions, they are about projecting what is ideal to people and not what is real. They present imaginary images of what people should pursue, not what actually is out there. And that's because a lot of black women are chasing that imaginary standard, they often find themselves being taken advantage of by predators such as your players, your black pastors, and your other assorted beta males like your simps, your manginas, and your thugs. And because they look at the outside image and are emotionally stimulated by those outside images, they never look at the character of these men. Again, because they have never had that father in their life to establish that standard for manhood for them and to be that first man in their life to show them what they should pursue in terms of a relationship with a man. Because they never had that relationship with that first man in their life, they are never able to find that man who will give them the lasting relationship that will allow them to get close to someone over time. And because they don't have that man in their life, every relationship they have with men is pretty much dysfunctional. And this is why I said that many of these black women are single in my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. Because when you look at their early relationships and how they never had that relationship with that father in their life, it has shaped every relationship with men they have ever had in their lives. This is why they are chasing these fantasies like these rappers and these ball players or these thugs, because they are idealized images that they grew up imbibing, and they never had a real standard of manhood to measure it by. So they're chasing these fantasies and trying to make these fantasy images of manhood real. And that's not going to happen. These are fantasies, and human beings are not fantasies. Fantasies are are constructs. They are made up to help people escape. And in real life, you cannot escape anything. In real life, people have flaws, people have issues, and they are not perfect. And the sad part is that your African American Negro woman pretty much believes that she is perfect. She has bought into a lot of these social constructs, tropes, and ideas regarding her own image, and because that's the culture she was taught by that single mother, and she's trying to make a square peg into a round hole. She's trying to make this fantasy and turn it into reality. And there's no way you can get to that good man. He is like the unicorn. He is like the rainbow. At the end of the pot of gold, at the end of the rainbow, he is not real. It's not. It's not. It's a fantasy that makes you feel good, but it has no basis in the real world. And when you look at this concept of this good man, it's just not real. I mean, there is no Ivy League educated guy who makes six figures at a multinational corporation who is going to sweep any woman off her feet, who's 6 feet tall and all this other stuff. This guy, he just doesn't exist. But you can't tell this to most Afro-American Negro women, because they want to believe that this fantasy is real, that this fantasy is possible, and that this guy pretty much she is capable of getting. And that's not going to happen. Um, what's going to happen is you're going to get older, and then all the great guys who had great character and integrity, they're going to pass them right by. And that's what's happened to a majority of these African American women. The great guys have pretty much passed them by, and they're still sitting there waiting for this good man to show up, and it's just not going to happen. I mean, it's a fantasy, and the reason why they're still believing in this fantasy is, again, because the culture that was taught to them by their mothers about men, because they never had a relationship with that first man in their life. And the only way to help your daughters break this cycle, many of you guys out here, is to be that father in their life and to start laying down the foundation for what the standard of black manhood is, because the standard is our standard. It's supposed to be something we establish for our daughters, not something that we leave for people like Steve Harvey, Tyler Perry, Lee Daniels, and black pastors to do. That is something we all have to do for our daughters, so they can understand that a good man is about the content of his character, not the external traits that he presents to the world. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.